Hello and welcome to Hamilton's Happy Hour, where today we are opening up some NFL football cards from 1990. What is that? 33 years ago as of this recording. Player cards and trivia cards. It's got 16 player cards and one Magic Motion trivia card. Features special Young Superstars glossy set offer. See back of wrapper. So 1990 score NFL football. Before we get into the cards, I want to remind everybody, check us out online, hamiltonshappyhour.com. You can find links to all of our socials on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. And if you enjoy this video, be sure to check out our other opening videos. We've got opening up baseball cards from the 80s. We've got opening up Hot Wheels cars, all kind of cool opening stuff. If you like this video, check those out and give this one a thumbs up. Leave us a comment on what you think. So let's take a look at the 1990 score NFL football. Looks like on the front there's the Rams versus the Vikings. Not sure why they feature those two teams. So it says here, NFL Young Superstars and Trivia Cards. 40 glossy cards plus 5 trivia cards, and it mentions some names. It says below is a partial list of players. Barry Sanders, legend. Sterling Sharp, Bobby Humphrey, primetime Deion Sanders, Coach Deion nowadays. Andre Rison, Mark Carrier, Keith Jackson, and Flipper Anderson. I believe Flipper Anderson was on the Rams team. All right, so let's open up. Oh, open up right down the middle. So unlike the baseball cards we've opened previously, this one does not have a stick of gum. So starting off the pack, Johnny Holland with the Packers. Inside linebacker. Looks like that was his first year with the Packers. Our next card, who I believe is on the pack, the front of the pack, that Rams quarterback. Right there, Jim Everett of the Rams. Funny story on Jim Everett with one of the talk shows back then. The hell is that guy's name? Jim Rome, maybe? But he had him on his talk show, sports talk show, and he kept calling Jim Everett Chris Everett. Chris, as in the female tennis player. Jim Everett didn't like that too much and let Jim Rome know. So Jim Everett. So this these cards are just showing that year stats along with career totals. So that year, Jim Everett threw for 4,300 yards, 29 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. And look there, he was born January of 1963, so he just turned 60 years old this year. Happy birthday, Jimbo. Look, this is a familiar name. You see him on college football Saturdays. Merle Hodge of the Steelers. Check that out. Merle Hodge, fullback. He had 621 yards that year, 8 touchdowns. Rushing, 270 yards receiving, no touchdowns receiving. Merle Hodge, great name you see on College Football Saturday. Another great name you see on TV every week. Look at that, Steve Young, quarterback of the 49ers. The 49ers had such a run in the 80s into the early 90s. Going from Joe Montana right to Steve Young. It reminds me somewhat of the recent Green Bay Packers, where they went from Brett Favre right to Aaron Rodgers. The 49ers had more Super Bowl victories than those Packers, but just to be set up with legendary quarterbacks like that, great for that team. So let's look at Steve. 89. This is 90, so this would have been 89 stats. That's the year, I'm pretty sure, the 49ers won the Super Bowl that year. So Steve Young, he only had 1,000 passing yards, 8 touchdowns. So this was he was still a backup this year. So yeah, 89, if these are 89 stats, yeah, 89 would have been the 49ers and Bengals. And look at that, here in the 2020s, it's a good chance we might see the 49ers and Bengals in the Super Bowl again in the very near future with the teams they have. Great player, Steve Young, out of Brigham Young, BYU. Darryl Talley with the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo, was this that run they had? 90, 91, 92, 93. So this would have been the year before Buffalo had that 4-year run in the Super Bowl where they lost to, I want to say it was like the Cowboys. Maybe the Redskins was in there somewhere. And I think the 49ers beat them too. So yeah, they had a 4-year run of being the AFC champions. Great documentary, great 30 for 30 on ESPN called The Four Falls of Buffalo, I believe it is. But it looks at these teams that were involved in those great years for Buffalo. I'm wondering how that is as a team. You were great enough to win your conference or your division. You were great enough to win the AFC. Make it to the Super Bowl 4 years in a row, but you just don't win it. I think as a fan, I would still love it. I mean, your team's in the Super Bowl, but I can understand some other fans were quite upset with not sealing the deal. Oh, look at this. It's a little motion card. Super Bowl. Can you see that? Super Bowl trivia. Super Bowl trivia. Who was the first rookie coach to win the Super Bowl? George Seifert, John McCaffrey, John Madden, or Tom Flores? Without seeing this card, I want to say John Madden. I didn't see the answers. I saw it same time as you did. Let's turn it over. McCaffrey, who led the Colts. Oh, look at that. The Baltimore Colts to a 16-13 win over the Cowboys in Super Bowl V, 1971. Pretty cool. Anthony Toney with the Eagles. Fullback with the Eagles, or Eagles, as my Philly fans call them. 3 touchdowns that year. Tunch Ilkin of the Steelers. I can't say that I'm familiar with that name. He doesn't have any stats. One of the smaller tackles in the NFL. Tunch, the offensive captain of the Steelers, was selected for the Pro Bowl in '89 for the 2nd straight season. He was the first Pittsburgh offensive tackle in 24 years to be named to the Pro Bowl twice. Wow. In the past 4 seasons, he was responsible for just 6.5 sacks against his quarterback. He did not allow even one in '87. All right. Steve Grogan, Patriots quarterback. He was the quarterback in '86. I believe he was on that 85 team that lost to the Bears in the Super Bowl 20 in January 1986. I want to say he was the starting quarterback, but I don't know that he played, to be honest with you. I can't remember. It seemed to be a younger guy played quarterback for the Patriots that day. But either way, he was on the team, Steve Grogan. That's probably what he's, at least to me, what he's most known for. Stephon Page with the Kansas City Chiefs. Wide receiver. That year, he had 759 yards, 2 touchdowns. Next up is a legendary player, quarterback, Warren Moon with the Houston Oilers. Such a great quarterback. So that year in '89, he had 3,600 yards, 23 touchdowns. He was runner-up in the AFC in pass rating and average gain in '89. In a game against the Browns, Warren completed 32 passes for a season high of 414 yards. Next up is Donald Igwebuike of the Buccaneers. I love those old Buccaneer jerseys. Look at the hats, the helmets. That's the kicker. He was 33 of 35 in point after attempts, 22 of 28 in field goals. '90 rookie Jeff Alm out of Notre Dame, defensive end. Little quote there from Lou Holtz. Over here, Kirk Loudermilk of the Vikings. His 1990, so he was the center. Kirk developed into one of the top centers in the league. In 1989, he was picked as a second-team All-NFC center. Next we got from the Seahawks, Joe Nash. Joe Nash was a nose tackle. He had 8 sacks that year. Vance Johnson of the Broncos. Those late '80 Broncos teams were really good with John Elway. 86, 87, they would have lost to Washington in the Super Bowl. But I think that was was that the strike year, or was '91 the strike year? When I think it was '87 was the strike year when Doug Williams of the Redskins defeated the Broncos. I believe that was the year. And last out of this pack, Billy Joe Tolliver of the Chargers, quarterback. They had a great quarterback in the late 70s, early 80s. Look at that mug. Jesus God. Dan Fouts, legendary quarterback of the Chargers. So they go from Dan Fouts to Billy Joe Tolliver. He had 1,000 yards in '89, 5 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. All right, so that's it for that pack. The 1990 score, NFL football. I think the prizes out of that pack were definitely Warren Moon. This little flashy trivia card. Let's not cover up Warren. Merle Hodge. Jim Everett. And of course, Steve Young. That's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Give us a thumbs up. Leave your comment. And again, check us out online, www.hamiltonshappyhour.com. And until next time, take care and see ya.